An unsolved mystery of fear, death, and unanswered questions. What would you do if a letter arrived at your home, handwritten, anonymous, and inside it were secrets about your life, details no stranger should ever know? Your daily routine, your relationships, your mistakes. Now imagine those letters don't stop. They spread across your town, they target your family, and then someone dies. Tonight we're uncovering the Circleville Letters, a real unsolved American mystery that haunted a small Ohio town for nearly 2 decades. A case involving anonymous threats, public humiliation, a suspicious death, a failed conviction, and a question that still has no answer. Who was really behind the letters? Circleville, Ohio, a small, close-knit city just south of Columbus. In the 1970s, this was the kind of town where people knew their neighbors, where secrets were supposed to stay secret, where crime felt distant. That sense of safety ended in 1976, when residents began receiving letters unlike anything they'd ever seen before. The letters were handwritten, no return address, no fingerprints, and they were disturbing. Each one accused its recipient of immoral or criminal behavior. Affairs, lies, corruption. But what made them truly terrifying was how personal they were. The writer knew schedules, knew private conversations, knew where people lived and when they were home. One woman in particular became the primary target. She received dozens of letters accusing her of having an affair with the local school superintendent. The letters warned her, "We are watching you." Terrified, she tried to keep them hidden. But soon her husband began receiving letters too, and the threats escalated. The harassment didn't stay private. Large signs began appearing around Circleville, handmade posters nailed to fences and roadsides. They repeated the accusations, they named names, they spread rumors throughout the town. Even worse, the letters and signs began mentioning the couple's 12-year-old child. At that point, this was no longer harassment. It was psychological terror. Then in 1977, everything changed. One evening, the woman's husband received a phone call. According to her, he believed the caller was the letter writer. Angry and shaken, he left the house in his truck, determined to confront whoever had been tormenting his family. Minutes later, he was found dead at the end of the street. His truck had crashed. He was slumped behind the wheel. Initially, the sheriff suspected homicide. Why? Because a single gunshot had been fired before the crash. But there was a problem. There was no evidence that he had been shot at the scene. The sheriff later reported that the man was twice the legal alcohol limit and ultimately ruled the death a drunk driving accident. Case closed, but not everyone believed that explanation. Soon after the ruling, the letters came back. This time, the target was the sheriff himself. The anonymous writer accused him of covering up the true cause of death, ignoring evidence, mishandling another investigation involving the county coroner, who had faced accusations of disturbing misconduct. The writer wasn't afraid of authority. In fact, they seemed emboldened by it. And once again, Circleville was on edge. In 1983, the original victim noticed yet another sign along the roadside. She pulled over to remove it herself. Behind the sign, she discovered something horrifying, a box. Inside it, a loaded pistol. The gun was rigged as a booby trap, designed to fire when the sign was removed. If the mechanism had worked properly, she might have been killed. This time, police acted fast. The gun was traced to Paul Freshour, the woman's former brother-in-law. Freshour denied writing the letters. He claimed he was being framed, but prosecutors argued the gun belonged to him. His past conflicts gave him motive. Handwriting analysis suggested a match. Paul Freshour was convicted of attempted murder and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Case solved, except it wasn't. Because even after Freshour went to prison, The letters continued. New victims, new accusations, same handwriting style. One letter even threatened to dig up the grave of a deceased infant and mail the remains to police, connected to another alleged affair turned murder. The tone was just as confident, just as cruel, and just as anonymous. Hundreds of residents continued receiving letters year after year, until suddenly in 1994, they stopped. No explanation, no confession, no final message, just silence. Paul Freshour was later released on parole. He maintained his innocence until his death. The true identity of the Circleville letter writer was never confirmed. So we're left with questions. Was Paul Freshour the writer, or a convenient suspect? How did the author know so much about so many people? Was there more than one person involved? And was the husband's death truly an accident, or something far darker? In Circleville, the letters are gone, but the fear they created, and the justice that never came, still remain.